Welcome back, everybody, to episode number 10 here in the Happy Space Prison. I'm excited that we have made it through to 10 episodes. We're at cycle 235, and I've done a little bit around just to get ready to do some more stuff. So I went out and I explored the rest of the map. So basically, I just built ladders that got us up into the areas where we still had some fog, and I got most of the maps mapped out to be finished. So that got us the pulling back the veil achievement, where we have revealed over 80% of the map. We still have a little bit of space to explore. We still have a little bit of the magma biome to explore, and a little couple patches here and there. But mostly we can see everything, and we have seen where all of our volcanoes and geysers are. We have, as far as water goes, we have the two that we already had. We also have a cool steam vent up here that's making water, and then down at the bottom we have a cool slush geyser that's making us cold polluted water, which is good. And then we have another steam vent over here that we're not going to tap into until we have much better resources, because it's very, very hot. But those are our water sources for the map, it looks like, unless I've missed something, which is possible. Right now we do need to focus on water. I also finished all of the research in the research tree up until space research. So I just kept grinding it out while I was exploring. So we're all caught up there, which is good. We used up most of our cold water, which we wanted to do because we didn't want to be taking hot water into the base, though it's kind of a moot point. We got the base pretty hot. Fortunately, it's not a big deal because we're not running on any plants. Plants are really what make it so it's hard for a hot base to thrive. We are stifling our thimble reed here, but that's not too big of a deal. I noticed after I had started playing, I kept trying to figure out why these Atmos suits were not showing up to be repaired, and apparently in the DLC or in the base game, there was no worn Atmos suits. It was added in the DLC. Now you can add it back in when you start a new base game playthrough. You just have to turn it on, but it's off by default. And I didn't know that, so I didn't turn it on, and I'm just gonna roll with it. I don't want to go in and edit files to change settings or anything, and it's too late to start over. The mechanic's easy enough to handle anyway. You just set up an exosuit forge to repair, and you provide it with reed fiber, which we clearly have enough that we could handle doing it, but next playthrough, now we know if we want that to be on, we have to turn it on. For now, we'll just have one less mechanic to worry about. Anyway, we do need to worry about the plants a little bit, because a few of these are our overflow for our bathroom, but we'll handle that in a little while as well. For now, we need to focus on it because our cool steam vent, which is providing the water to our electrolyzer, is dormant, and it'll be active again in 14 cycles, and we have enough hydrogen and oxygen to hold us through. It's one of the reasons we stockpile it, but I want to get it set up so that we can at least augment the supply of this cool steam vent. I'm not going to go too crazy to do like a final setup for the water just yet, because I'd like to wait until I have some more mid-game resources like steels and plastic. But for now, I want to set up a sieve that's going to clean out this pool of polluted water above us. So we're just going to put that down here. Why did that not place? There we go. And then we just need to connect it to power. It's on the power line there. That's good. We need to put in a pump above it. So we'll put one, let's put one right here. And then I'm going to do a little bit of reinforcing up above here to make it so that this is a little stronger, because I'm going to be moving some stuff around. I don't want to have a chance for any of these tiles to break. If you move the pressure and water around, sometimes it'll break like one tile or two tiles, but if you have 3 tiles thick, it won't. So we're going to go through and we'll build out this area underneath so that it is made out of tiles and filled in, and then that way I can run a pipe through here without breaking everything and having this whole polluted water tank land on our heads. As far as the plumbing goes, let's do just a regular pipe here from the output. We'll come over here and put in a vent. I'm going to put the vent down here. And we'll put in automation for a hydro sensor that goes right next to it with a wire. This should be good. I'm just trying to think. I actually want to do... Let's do that lower. Yeah, let's do it like that. And then we're going to put in some ladders across to get to there and across to here. And we're going to start to build out just a little bit of a chamber here. Nothing too crazy. This is a very temporary setup. I'm bringing this down to here and maybe down to here as well. Oh, that I changed in the middle of that. I don't want to change different blocks in the middle of that. Let's do that again. This time we'll do the whole thing out of granite. Let's come across like this. We'll come down and like that. And then once we have that done, we can dig out this area to make a pool for the water to collect in and move the pump. And then we'll just need to get this section up here done so that we can get in there to run a line to our sieve and we'll be able to get water in there. So let me get the duplicates working on this and then we'll move on to our next step for today. I haven't done anything too crazy here. I'm kind of waiting until we get through our next couple steps where we get some more materials before I build anything too permanent. This is just a temporary system to convert our polluted water into water and add it into our tank. So in another 6 cycles, this cool steam vent is going to reactivate. It'll be putting steam out. I have a door here I'll lock up. That way the steam doesn't get out and mess with our sieves. And they're just basically processing what the pump can send. And I have a storage bin full of sand here. That way the dupes can deliver it in bulk. And a sweeper to keep these full. So they'll just keep running and send down more water in here. For the automation, I just put in a signal here that stops the vent if the water gets up to this level. That way we still have room up top for the steam to come out and turn into water. And down here, I'm not pumping it out until we get up to 500 kilograms on this tile. That way we're not sending out little tiny packets. But we're very close to the point where we're going to be sending more water back out, which is fine. It'll take care of this oxygen system, say insufficient oxygen generation. That just means we made less oxygen than we used. That's okay. We still have quite a backlog of oxygen and hydrogen even after doing all of that. So this is going to be set up. The duplicates will take a few more trips just to keep this storage bin full, but now they won't be running back and forth with tiny little bits of sand all over the map. They'll just get this bin full and then fill it up as it depletes. So we have this sorted for now. We bought ourselves some more time, basically. We'll convert all of this polluted water into water, and that'll keep us going for, I don't know, maybe 50, 100 more cycles. I'm not sure. But then we'll have to work on the salt water. We will need to do this sooner rather than later because we're getting to the point where this is going to be causing an issue because we're going to get over the top of this saltwater geyser and prevent it from producing any more water, and we don't want that. But we already have a pretty big backlog, so once this is full, my plan is that we'll come in and put a more permanent tank in here and just make this a saltwater tank, and the polluted water will handle somewhere else. I just want to get rid of what we've collected here. We'll probably go through and clean up some of this other stuff too. In fact, I can issue some low-level commands to mop out in this area to handle that. That way, if they have nothing else to do, they'll go up and they'll start mopping that stuff up. We already have this here, so when they're done, we'll just sweep all the polluted water bottles and dump them all into the tank. So we're good. We're good on this. That gives us some more time. I want to focus on the base a little bit. There are some things that we need to do. So let's take a quick look around and see where we're at with that. The main thing is that during the last episode, we brought in 4 new duplicates. And right now, they're all locked inside the base. And it's for good reason. When they go to use Atmos suits, they will be a detriment. And the reason for that is if we look at their skills, let's see if I can't find one of them. There's Camille. If we look at her stats, her athletics is 3 right now. That's because she has a +3 on athletics. If we were to put her an Atmos suit on her, like on one of these guys, their athletics are being decreased by 6 because of the Atmos suits. And for them, it's fine because they have a skill level of 10, so they'd be at 4. Right now, this one's at 5 because they got the sparkle flattered buff. And this one's the same way. Their athletics is currently 5. They're high enough that the -6 Atmos suit keeps them up higher. The issue is these guys, if they were to put on an Atmos suit, they'd be at -3 athletics. They'd be moving around very, very slow, -30%. Run speed, and we can't really handle that, especially because if they get slime lung, it affects them for that too. So we're gonna have some real issues. So we're gonna set up a gym for our duplicates that are gonna be staying inside the base. So we're gonna just put in some airflow tiles here to create a room. I always do that with the wrong materials. Doesn't really matter, but I don't want it to be 2 different materials. I want it to be all one. So we'll do iron. We'll fill this room up with like that. And then inside the room, we're going to set up a very simple system. We're going to pick manual generators, and we're going to set up 3 of those. And above them, we're going to put in some lights. We'll do a couple different ones just to make it kind of fun looking. So let's take our power. For now, we're just going to put the power lines in. We're not going to connect them because I don't want anybody running on these until we're ready. But the idea is these 3 generators will be set up in a room where we can control access. We'll make it so just the duplicates that we want to train up can go in here. And because they can't leave the base, and this is available to them, they will automatically come in here and do some running all day long and get their athletics up. And the generators will help with get that up. Also, the ceiling lights will light up what they're doing because they're running to power them, and that will give them some extra increase in their attributes, because if they're in a lit workspace, they learn things much, much faster, a little bit faster. So we want to get this room built. We're going to set that up. As far as all the 4 duplicates that we're doing, we have Amari, who has already gotten his next skill point, so we're going to make him a critter rancher. We have Rowan, who's in the same boat. We're going to make him a critter rancher as well. And so there, we're not going to put in the gym because they'll continue to increase the skills we want with their critter ranching by doing critter ranching. Ari and Camille, however, even though they have some skill points, they're the ones I need the athletics to go up. So we're going to set them to just stay inside the base, help with deliveries. But if there is nothing else to do, they will immediately go in and hop into the gym. And so they'll probably just spend 99% of their time in the gym getting their skills up. And that's fine. It'll take 15, 20 cycles before they get to the point where they'd be eligible to go outside. And then as we expand, we can, each new duplicate, that will be their first task assigned to training their skills to the point where they can be useful. So we're going to let that go up while we get some water converted, and we'll get ready for having enough duplicates to go out to do our next task, which is going to be coming down here and starting some work in the oil biome. Been processing through some water, and while we were working on getting all the polluted water converted over to water to fill our tanks here, which is going really well, we're now at the point where we're full here, so we're not processing anymore. We did some work in the base. I decided that it was time to make a few upgrades, make the place a little nicer. So we expanded it out, so I have some room to move around and do some things up top. And I also installed a nice little air conditioning system. So this is pretty simple. I don't have the technology for active cooling quite yet, but what I do have is polluted water that I can run through a loop, and I have a cold biome over here. So we have a little bit of cracking in pipes because things paused, so when they stopped moving, the water got too cold and it cracked. But while it's moving, it's fine. So we need to get in there and repair those pipes, but that's about it. The loop goes through and it picks up chill down here. It takes that out and it dumps it out through the radiant pipes up here. And those pipes go all the way around the outside of the base and then up through here through the middle, just because there's some extra heat in here and I wanted it to be a little more efficient. What I do to shut it off so that we don't turn our base into an ice biome is I have one thermosensor right here, and I have it near our crops because that's what's important, the temperature in this area. So I have it set at 23 degrees. With it being that way, we can stay above the minimum body temperature for our plants. So as soon as this gets down to 23 degrees, we send a signal over here that is green. It turns this liquid shutoff on. What happens then is all the water in the cooling loop gets dumped into this reservoir, and then it shunts back onto the loop. So while there's a green signal, the loop stops here and goes down. So it continues to loop, so we don't have any breakage, and it continues to cool down until it's as cold as this. That means once the heat comes back into the base and builds back up enough, and this turns back on, we have nice cold liquid to send through our radiant pipes. And that chills the whole base down. I have it come through here as well at our liquid lock so that we keep the liquid here cold, and there's a vacuum in between. So temperature can build up in here. It can't transfer to here anyway, but in case we do get any gas in here or something happens to make it transfer, I keep this liquid at the same temperature as the air. That way we are pretty safe that there's no temperature outside that's going to make its way in and cause any problems in our base. So as of now, inside our base, it's a nice 20 to 23 degrees all over the base. So our duplicates are pretty happy. So we also have been working on getting our duplicates up and running in athletics. So Ari, if we look at him, has athletics at 7. Camille has athletics at 7. That means they are good enough now to be allowed to leave the base. So we'll give them access. We'll give them default access. I also set it so that our ranchers and our cooks cannot leave. So now we have 6 people that can leave the base and 6 that can't. Let's check out the skills for these guys. I have them set up so they have improved carrying. I also want to give them the first level of digging. So I can give them the digging helmet, and so that they can dig through things when I need to. That means they'll be set up. I want to check their priorities. So we have them down here at the bottom. I want to make sure they match Harold's priorities. So they have building and digging, and everything else is neutral except for the things they cannot do. So they're set. If we look at our schedule, we have a rancher and a cook, a rancher and a cook, a rancher and a rancher. But then we have 2 diggers, or in cases of these schedules up top, we have 1 researcher and 1 mechatronics engineer, but that are also on the build dig team. I think that that's good. We might, I think what I'll do, let's switch Camille to shift 2, and let's shift Ari to shift 1, and put Nisbet on shift 4. And that way, if case Nisbet or Meemaw are on a task where they're doing research or they're doing mechatronics, I still have 1 dedicated build digger on every shift that's available. And the way the shifts are set up, there's very little time where there's not 2 of these people available. There's a section when they overlap. And so there's always 2, and there's almost always 3 of the same shifts available. So like here, there's these 3 are available while this one sleeps. So that means we always have at least 2, and sometimes 3 build diggers that are available for dedicated work at any given time, which will really help us with getting down to these far sections of the base where we're going to be doing some digging. The next question to ask is, we want to get into this oil biome. That's our next goal. What is the best place to go in? So there's a couple different options. There is, I like to kind of keep as much of the abyssalite together as I can. And if we come across the abyssalite is all good, except for a break in the abyssalite here, where there is some automation that spawned over the abyssalite layer. And then the abyssalite continues on through here. It's blocked by this carbon dioxide geyser. There's technically a little break here, but it's very small. And then it continues on, and it goes under here. And there's another break here. Given the 2 of those, I think that we're going to use this as our entry point, because it's already on the side of the map, and it's kind of, I think I might, just for fun, try to build inside this building to retain some of the structure, just to have it look kind of cool. So what we want to do is get down here and be able to build some things where we're going to be setting some things up. Part of that is that I'm going to want to have some power down here. And I don't want to have to run power lines from our power grid all the way down here just yet, because that's a long distance to run. So I want to get down here, I want to dig some area out, and then I want to set up a temporary power station that's running off of coal, because we have a ton of it. And I can set it up with some automation so that it can provide us with some power remotely down here. So that's our next task. We're going to get in here and we're going to dig out this section here where all these gases are. We'll put down a little power station, get it running, and then we'll probably create a system where we have a liquid lock going into the oil biome and another one coming into here. And we'll create a little kind of a buffer area where, just in case one or the other of them fails, I don't have gases and liquids and whatever mixing into the oil biome. I want to keep it as pristine as possible because it'll make our life a lot easier. So I'm going to focus on doing this for the next little while. One thing I want to do real quick before that is I still want to finish processing through this polluted water, and we would do it slowly. But one thing we can do to help that is let's turn on another electrolyzer. So now we'll be burning through 3 kilograms of water a second. This is only producing it produces 4,000 per second, but only when it's on. It averages 1.5. So this will use more water than we can produce from the cool steam vent, and we'll burn through this polluted water a little bit faster. Because once I get all this polluted water cleared out, I'm going to switch this over to a system that works on this salt water and fix this tank. So I want to get through this polluted water pretty quickly so that I can do that. On the basic setup down here for what I want to do, I'm basically making a room to store some of these gases, and I want to pump them all out. So I put in a coal generator, a smart battery to automate it, and a couple of storage bins that we are having coal delivered to, and we're building some vents. The next thing I need to do is have a way to filter the gases out so I can store them in these reservoirs. So I'm going to set up my typical filter system that I like to use. So we're going to do a bridge at the bottom and at the top of this system. And then we're going to connect them with just regular gas pipes. And when we come across here, we want to bridge our gas onto this left side. And then on the right side, oh, actually, you know what? I want to do this just a little bit higher. Let me change that. Cancel this. I want to have a little bit more space above, so I'm going to do this, and then we'll bring this up, and we'll bridge on up here. So we'll have a bridge that goes up at the top, and that goes onto that side. On this side, I'm going to have, let me think about this real quick. What I need is a space to have the automation as well as the shutoff. I think I'm going to have to move these in one because I need space for my automation to work, and that's fine. So what we're going to do is we'll have a gas pipe element sensor that's going to go, yeah, I need to remove this ladder too, as well as these spots on the thing. There we go. So we need to have a gas pipe element sensor at each of the levels of the system, and then we're going to have a gas shutoff, and we're going to put that right after those, like that. Then we'll take a connection. We'll connect these here, and we need power to go to those. And down here, I don't particularly care about how the things look. So I'm just going to bring a heavy watt wire the whole way down this side. Rather than worrying about setting up a power grid, we'll just have a heavy watt wire so they're all connected directly to the coal generator. Which will be no problem at all. We don't need this little section down here. That'll get them powered, it'll get the automation going, and it will allow us to put in our gas reservoirs. So we already have a loop going. We'll get these set up here. And then what happens is this will stop running gas because the loop is full, and none of these will allow any gas out until the automation is working and powering the shutoffs. So we'll do ventilation from here directly into the reservoirs. I like to put a pipe on the out just so that it already fills up one so I know what it is when I connect. So we need to get the automation built, and then once that's in there, we'll be able to turn it on and select which type of gas. And each level will hold a certain one, and we're going to pump all the gas out of this room. There's carbon dioxide at the bottom, chlorine, polluted oxygen, and hydrogen in this room. Those are all the things we want to get pulled out and put into storage. And then this is just going to be where we hold some gases. The one gas that will fill this room up eventually is carbon dioxide, because the coal generator is going to be pumping it, but we'll have these pumps continue to pick that up. We might do something with that in a little while. We'll see how it goes. But for now, I just want to get everything built here so that we can start the process of pumping the gases out. Let's go back home real quick while that's finishing, and we'll check over here. We're almost done with our polluted water. I cranked this up so we're burning through with all 9 electrolyzers just so we continue to go through water, because I want to finish out these last 2 rows of polluted water. What we're going to do once we finish that is I'm going to demolish this whole wall so this salt water spills down in, and we're going to make one big tank for our salt water. So the bottom of that tank is going to be even with this here, so we're going to make a row that goes here. And actually, I think I'll use an insulated wall for this side. Let's do an airflow wall, because then I won't have to worry about any kind of pressures. I can actually go switch to one layer of airflow tiles, and then I won't have to deal with any of the issues with doing doubling or tripling tiles. So I want to leave some space here between our entrance and this system. So let's leave 5 blocks, and we'll start our wall right here. And we're going to come down like this, and then we're going to work our way over here. So they can start building that. And then once this is all pumped out, actually, you know, I can go and build this across. That won't be a problem. We'll leave the abyssalite for there, and we'll do it down here to make it so it goes the whole way across. And then we'll remove this whole wall. Once we have this built, the salt water will spill down to here, and we can move this pump up into here to lead salt water in, and we'll switch this system over from water sieves to desalinators so that we can start processing the salt water into water inside this tank. Let's go back down, see where we are with our automation. Looks like they're just starting to get the last bits of it put in. So that's perfect timing. They got the first one done. So we need to get the power up at the top connected. But what we can do is, what we have is carbon dioxide, chlorine, polluted oxygen, and hydrogen. So I'm going to do carbon dioxide as the first one. So we go to unbreathable gas, we select carbon dioxide. Now you'll notice that even though the automation is set up, it is not going to actually turn this on until we have power. Let's set the other one so you can actually see it. This will be chlorine. We want to have polluted oxygen and hydrogen. So once they get those put on, we'll see. But what happens is the power to these shutoffs, if they go off, the automation doesn't matter. The gases will still go past the automation tile and not go in. So we never end up with anything mixed in the wrong reservoirs. I think that we'll probably need to put some extra ones in. That's why I left some more space for gas reservoirs as well. But we just need to get this last automation done, and then we can actually start getting this pumped. Our automation is done, and our gas pumps are rolling, pulling out all the gases in this area. We have everything filtered, so as soon as it gets done pulling in all this polluted oxygen and starts pulling something else in, it'll all get handled. We'll have to expand to add more tanks if we need them, but we just mostly just want to get this entire room cleared out, because when I crack into the oil biome, I don't want to have any other gases going in. We already have to deal with a little bit of polluted oxygen here and there throughout it, which is going to be kind of a pain, but we'll deal with it. And this extra gas mixed in there would be a pain for me. My goal eventually is to get it so that all the carbon dioxide is also collected out of the oil biome, because working in the oil biome with things I want to do, vacuums will be helpful. But for now, this will set up exactly what I want to do. The other thing that we'll use this power grid for that we set up, this little mini power grid, I should say, is once we get in here and have some oil collected, we can get in here and start producing our very first batches of steel, because we can use that oil as a heat sink. But we're going to do all that in the next episode. We're going to let this run and get all this gas cleared out in between. Our liquid lock here is good to go. We've finished getting all the water we need, almost. This will shut it off when we get to 500. We're almost there already. And that means that this whole room is sealed and can get pumped out. Back at home, I have finished building our saltwater chamber because we're down to this last row of polluted water. So I'm going to finish pumping that out. We'll get in there, mop that up, and remove all this. But for now, we're digging down this wall so that we can let this saltwater chamber or saltwater pool fill into this entire section. And that'll give us a lot more time before we have to worry about this saltwater geyser flooding our base. And that's good. That's all we need, is more time to work on other things. I did put a pump in here where we're going to want it. We'll have to rerun the pumping for it after we're done with this one. And we will switch these over to desalinators, and that will be our primary water source, as well as this cool steam vent that is still pumping out 1.5 kilograms of water per second for us, so that we can keep creating more hydrogen, more oxygen. We're already over 1,000 kilograms per tile in oxygen, crazy amounts that we probably won't ever go through all of it, but it's worth doing anyway. So that's it for today. Next episode, we're going to get this all finished, go into the oil biome, and get started down here. My goal is to probably demolish the entire thing to collect all the oil together, get all these resources and goodies down here. We have lots of rock. We have fossil that we'll use in our steel production. We have diamond. There is some iron ore, and I think that there's also some refined metals that should be in here somewhere that will help us out too. And then we have some geysers in here to figure out what they are and determine if they're going to be of anything useful to us. So a lot of things to do. We're going to dig all that out, and we'll be very careful to not mix too many gases together. There's a couple little pockets of stuff that I want to watch out for, and we'll fix as we go. And we'll end up, hopefully, with a chamber down here that has nothing in it but crude oil and carbon dioxide for us to start working with. But like I said, we have to wait until we get this whole chamber finished being vacuumed out, which shouldn't take too long. And we'll have that done before we start the next episode. Hope you guys enjoyed watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.